Hello everyone, and welcome to the final episode of Sculpting Banehorse. So first things first, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all the people who have been watching my videos and subscribing. I know it's only 33 subscribers, but I feel pretty proud going from 0 to 33, and I hope to continue that growth. Now let's put this beast to rest. So the videos of me creating the mask for Banehorse were corrupted, and unfortunately it was banished to ZBrush hell. So I went back and created this quick close-up turn just so you can all see it, since I don't really show it that much in the video. Now here you can see me starting to work out the details of the horse. This is the most time-consuming part of just about any sculpture, and maybe the most infuriating. Sometimes I'll find myself detailing a part of my sculpt for hours, and when I zoom out, I think to myself, what the f*** have I been doing for the past hour? But in the end, when everything is detailed and it looks really nice, you feel pretty proud of what you did. So one thing I wanted to discuss was why I decided to create my Banehorse character like the original comic instead of the movie Bane, you know, with the mask. I really like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Well, the second one the most, and the third one, and then, yeah, I guess one. But I didn't like how they portrayed Bane. So here's a little history on Bane. He was born in a prison in the Caribbean Republic. Caribbean, I don't know. He was forced to serve a life sentence because of his father. But basically, since he was trapped in prison, all he could do was read and read and read and work out too. After fighting all the inmates in the prison and eventually becoming known as the King of Penadoro, the prison's controllers noticed this and forced him to become the test subject for a new super soldier-like serum called Venom. Where all other inmates died while testing the serum, Bane survived, but barely. Bane noticed that it increased his strength immensely, but he needed to take it every 12 hours or suffer the side effects. Eventually he escaped the prison with some accomplices and headed to Gotham to seek the demonic bat that haunted his dreams ever since he was a child. So to get this injection of venom, he created this device on his wrist that can pump the stuff directly into his brain. So obviously there's still a lot more to this guy and things that I left out, but that's the basic gist of it. I love the original story behind him and the pumps going into his head and all that. For the Dark Knight Rises Batman, they pretty much scrapped what was Bane in my opinion. Bane is an awesome character because he gets his strength from the venom, not a mask that just takes your pain away. I mean, don't get me wrong, the villain in the Dark Knight Rises was really cool, but I don't really think they should have called him Bane. Also, when I first started watching the movie, I thought that the voice they gave him was a joke, since Bane originally had like a South American accent. If you don't know, I'm pretty passionate about my Batman characters. Even right now I'm wearing a Batman shirt. But that's enough of my rant on Batman. So here you can see me creating his wrist unit. There are a bunch of variations on this, but I like the one that again looked more like the original. So I continue working on the wrist unit, just adding little details and little accessory pieces to it so that it doesn't look so plain. I then moved to continue the pipe from his head to his wrist, and the armband that held the pipe to his arm. I continue working on the band by adding little creases and deformities to try and make it feel a little bit more like cloth. Either cloth or like a rubber band or elastic material, just so that the pipe doesn't move all over the place while he's either fighting or moving. So I then continue to add more details to the chest, as well as just go throughout the body and add details where I see fit. The mask, for example, I decided to go back and add the little seams just to get those minor details. I then go back into the hand to deepen the creases so that it creates a little bit more contrast when viewing it from far away. So after deepening the creases in the hand, I then go back and use a specialized alpha to create the fine details for the knuckles as well as the fingernails. I then continued to detail him and add veins because, I mean, he's got all this venom flowing through him, so I wanted the veins on his neck to pop a bit more. When putting veins on a character, you could do it a few ways. If you want them popping out, you can use something like the inflate tool, the standard tool, or something that pulls clay out to make like custom veins. Another way, if you're savvy with texturing in Maya, or another program, and want to show the veins under the skin, you can create a color map and use subsurface scattering. Subsurface scattering is basically the effect you get if you shine a light through your hand or thin surface of skin. It's a tool in which penetrates the surface of a translucent object and is scattered by the material that it interacts with. But with this tool you can also make it seem like there are veins actually under the skin, which is pretty cool. And finally, the way I did it was I created these veins using several different alphas. These are faster than the other methods, and I decided to use these since I'm kind of on time constraints when it comes to these projects. So I left the tail for last because for me, I feel sculpting hair is probably one of my weaknesses, and it felt like a pretty daunting task. I had an idea of how I wanted to make it. I started by using Z-spheres to make the basic mass of the hair. I then went in with my clay buildup to start detailing and adding different strands. While I was sculpting the hair, my reference for this were Greek statues. Even though the sculpt has nothing to do with Greek statues, the hair that is sculpted on them is perfect for the reference that I needed. Eventually you will see me start again with the tail because I didn't like how it was going. So I smooth it all out, and I use the clay buildup as well as the Damien standard to get the strands that I want. There are ways to create realistic hair in this program called fiber mesh, and I'm going to try to use it eventually in the future. I have used it in a couple of past sculpts, but I'd like to use it eventually in one of these videos so you guys could just see how it looks and how to manipulate it. But I wasn't going for that effect in the sculpt. So one of my favorite uses for fiber mesh is that if I'm creating a realistic character, I can use fiber mesh to create little details such as the eyelashes or eyebrows. Not necessarily the eyebrows as much, because if you're sculpting the hair, then generally you want the eyebrows sculpted the same way. But for the eyelashes, it's especially nice because instead of having to use Z-spheres to make each individual eyelash, you can mask out the area, hit the fiber mesh button, and there's a bunch of sliders that you can play with to adjust each parameter of how you want the eyelash to look, and it will make really good looking eyelashes for you. So perhaps I'll do a video relatively soon to show you guys what I mean. And then after about a collective week of sculpting, we get So I hope you guys enjoyed this series of sculpting my character Banehorse. I like doing these big projects, but maybe I'll post them every other week, so that way in between I could fill them with the recommendations that you guys give me. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of my process and my first longer sculpt. I hope you guys also didn't mind the rambling. And that's pretty much it for this video. So if you like this type of stuff and you want to see different types of sculpts in the future, please like and subscribe, as well as commenting on what you guys would like to see sculpted in the future. So that's it for now, and remember to keep creating.
Goodbye.